Alright, so we're gonna try this again. I've had some food. The hiccups are gone for now, possibly. But if they appear halfway through, just know I'm gonna like barrel through it and you're just gonna have to put up with it, okay? Hey, what's up you guys? This is Rob from The Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Wabiki, we're going to be taking a look at Pets 2.0. More specifically, Kubrows 2.0, because as I was kind of going through the list of things that I thought would be cool, I realized it's a very fucking long list. Now, for anybody who has never been here before and is like, what the hell is a Wabiki? It stands for Wouldn't It Be Cool If? And it's kind of like a cool, positive, twist on constructive criticism. Now, a lot of people out there think constructive criticism is calling something stupid and I would never play it. That's not really technically how it is, but I decided that on this channel we'll do it a little bit more positively, and we'll do it on the flip side, because nothing gets the creative juices flowing more than being excited. So I always think, you know, let's talk about all the things that would be cool if they are in game. Now, before we jump into the whole Kubrows thing, I did want to touch on a couple points, because as I was going through the comments from one of the previous videos that was kind of addressing these things, I noticed that there are a lot of people that were not aware of some of the newer changes that have happened to pets in general, well, to companions in general, so Kavats and Kubrows. So one of the things that you guys are, some people were not aware of was the fact that pets can no longer die due to their DNA degradation. So in the basic incubator segment, you will just end up having your pets going into stasis instead of dying straight out. So for those of you guys who go on vacation and forget to put your pets away, it's no big deal. They're just going to be put into stasis and you're going to have to hit them with a little bit of that DNA juicy juice to make them feel better. So that's not something that you guys have to worry about anymore, especially if you've invested a lot of forma into that pet. Don't worry. Feel free to invest, because legit, they're just going to go into stasis if you neglect them. Moving along, there is something called the Neutrino Incubator segment. If you're a little bit newer to the game, or just haven't paid attention to the Kavat and Kubrow area specifically, it's an upgrade to the Incubator segment, and this can be picked up from the dojo, I believe. You can get the blueprints from there, or you can go ahead and pick it up in the market for, I believe, 175 plat, something along those lines. And basically what this does is it reduces the stasis recovery to 30 minutes instead of longer, which I think is an hour. Listen, I've had this segment in for a long time, so that's kind of normal to me. It reduces the stasis recovery cost to 10k credits. Now this is big, because previous to this, you could only reduce the stasis recovery by plat. So that's the only way you could do it. You could only do it with plat. This one, 10k credits. For those of you guys who don't know what stasis recovery is basically when you're swapping out pets, the pet comes out of stasis and has like a stasis sickness for a little bit, and then after that stasis sickness wears off, which, you know, it's reduced here to 30 minutes. So after that 30 minutes, then you're free to play with your pet. However, if you want to rush that, you can use 10k credits to get them out, and they're fine and dandy. And now it's improved because you don't need to use plat for it. The last bit, and this is the biggest bit, because there's so many people complaining. They're like, pets upkeep are so difficult. It's so hard. My soul. And I'm like, you don't really know what's up, do you? But this Neutrino Incubator segment also lowers the cost of DNA stabilizers from 75k down to 5k. Literally, that is a 70, is it 70,000? Yeah, 70,000, because I'm so used to saying the K's. It's a 70,000 credit difference than the previous base segment. Now, that's not the only thing. It also makes sure that the DNA stabilizers last twice as long. Wow, I slurred all over that. I'm not drunk, I swear. But legitimately, now they last twice as long and they cost 70,000 less. So if you guys haven't gone and picked those up already, make sure to pick that up. It's really, really important. It'll save you a lot of headaches when it comes to pets. And I think that should kind of ease some of the tensions or some of the hesitation that people have with it. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the actual pet segment. I'm going to start off with some big overarching changes that should affect both Kubrows and Kavats, and then we'll get into the finer points and finally go into each of the individual Kubrows towards the end. So, starting off with the big changes, I have 2 suggestions. I'm like about to burp, and I'm scared that the burp is going to turn into hiccup. But because of the fact that Sentinels have weapons, Warframes have weapons, so basically they have 2 mod pools to pull from, right? So the Sentinels have things like their precepts and their survivability mods on their body, and then they have their offensive mods on their weapon, right? Well, unfortunately, Kavats and Kubrows don't get that luxury, so I'm kind of like crossing my fingers that we get something similar. Now, somebody last night did mention, they're like, oh, Kubrows and Kavats, you get weapons? Can I put a laser on my dog? No, you can't put a laser on your dog. But what you can do are put collars for dogs and bells for the kitties. So I was like, all right, so we should be able to get like a collar and then put all of the offensive mods on that. And for the kitty, they can have a bell and have all of their offensive mods on that. And then, of course, on the actual Kavat themselves, or Kubrows themselves, you put all of the survivability and all of the other precept mods on there. That just kind of feels fair and feels aligned, because the thing is, we do have upkeep costs with Kubrows and Kavats, right? We have to deal with loyalty for Kubrows. There's a lot of things that we kind of have to manage. So Kubrows and Kavats should, like, logically be a step above Sentinels, and in a lot of ways they are, but you know what I mean, like we're dealing with like 8 less mod slots. So I would love to see collars and bells like in there as their kind of like offensive prowess, right? Now, if DE can't do that, and you know, maybe there are reasons, I don't know, but if DE can't do that, what I would like to say is, no collars, no bells, but can we get an Excellus slot and an Aura slot for our pets? Treat them like they're Warframes, right? I mean, we have power strength mods on Warframes. We used to have ability mods on Warframes. So a part of me is kind of like along the lines of, go ahead and toss us an Excellus mod and an Aura mod to kind of sweeten the pot, and then create some pet-specific auras, right? Something like energy regen, attack speed, and that should affect both the owner and the pet, and maybe even the rest of the group. Maybe auras in general should just affect both Kubrows, Kavats, and the rest of the team. So things like that, not anything too crazy, but just little boosts that are nice. Now we are going to talk about Excellus mods. There are certain mods out there that I'm just like, these are good mods, but they're not good enough to take up such a tight build, because for many of us, like I'm running 7 Forma in a majority of my pets. That's a lot of Forma, alright? So part of me is kind of like, well, you know, there are some things like Hunter's Command. Like, so for those of you guys who don't know what Hunter's Command is, basically your pets will attack whatever has a slash proc on them. They'll go after that. So a part of me is like, that's nice, but that's not gonna take, you know, that's not gonna take over my what do you call this, my like pack leader. It's not gonna go ahead and do like that lifesteal link from the pet. It's not gonna take those away. However, if you got an Excellus mod for it, I might just go ahead and do that, and that way we can make use of all of those Excellus mods that Rebecca gave us. Thank you very much. Also things like Scavenge, where they can like open crates and lockers, or where they can open locked lockers. Scavenge is a perfect thing for Excellus mods. Now, one of the things that I wanted to really kind of like take a look at, and that's the end for like my big crazy overarching changes for both Kavats and Kubrows. Now we're going to get a little bit more specific, but I wanted to kind of do a little overlook on why Kavats are, I want to say, performing really, really well as opposed to Kubrows. Not that Kubrows are bad, don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing your dogs, but we all know that Kavats are a little bit more powerful, not even powerful, but popular. More popular than Kubrows, and they're definitely perceived to be more popular. And this actually comes down to just 2 simple facts. They have better universal mods, and they have better things that apply specific to the Warframe itself. So, let's take a look at this. For Kavats, we have the ability to strip armor. we have attack range and target increase mods. So they have a larger attack range and they can hit more targets at once, which is nice. And then they have a stun as well. So they have some really good universal mods, and I'm gonna be honest with you, Kubrows have a lot of specific mods for themselves, but not really anything great that all Kubrows share together, which we'll get into what I suggest for that in a little bit. But the other thing that they don't quite win on is that the Kubrows are kind of self-contained, as opposed to the Kavats, who have buffs that improve combat. And the thing is, Kubrows kind of stay in their lane, but Kavats are like, you want crits? You got crits. Let's do crits. Let's do reloads. Let's do shield stuff. Let's go ahead and give you red crits. It's very much like when you play with a Kavat and you're shooting, then all of a sudden all of your crits turn orange or all of your crits turn red. You're like, whoa, holy fuck, here we go, right? It's like this, thanks, pet, you know? And like with the Kubrows, it doesn't feel as engaging. You don't feel as linked. You don't feel this kind of like, oh my god, like this is fucking cool. So that also kind of seeds into some of the solutions that I have later on. And then the other one is that Kavats, or at least the Smita, has the ability to improve loot drops. Now, I think that this is a big thing that we need to kind of really pay attention to, because from the way that I look at it, the way that I differentiate, Sentinels are great for vacuuming up the things that are there, right? Like, great, get all the scrap material that you need. You know, you don't want to focus on picking things up because you haven't learned to shoot and loot at the same time yet. Cool, great for the new kids. However, what we have for the pets is they should be able to generate more loot. And that's why the Smita is winning, because the Smita can generate loot, right? So it can make something out of nothing. One Kubrow has this ability, but I was looking into it, it's not as powerful as that. So I wanted to fix that one up as well, but that's a big thing. I definitely wanted for the pets to feel like they generate something for your usage that didn't exist before. I think that's a big line, and right now only one Kubrow can do that, and it's a little bit more limited than, you know, let's say the rest of them. So it's not really like earth-shakingly different. So that's kind of where Kavats are winning. Better universal mods, they have buffs that improve combat, and they also have the ability to improve loot drops, right? So let's go ahead and tackle the first subject, which is universalizing certain mods. And you can see from this, I'm actually ripping away some mods from some pets, because some shit, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't feel is powerful enough to define the pets. We need something a bit more. So we're going to start off with the Roxas Protect. Now, since all companions can now heal the operator, right? So we have, I think it's Meta Ray or something like that, the healing ray from the Sentinels, and they also have the ability to regenerate their shields. So they can do that. Now, pets can all of a sudden heal their owners. So just take away the Roxas Protect and just make that a universal mod and give the Roxa a better ability, right? Simple. The next one are the two finisher mods from the Sunika and the Sahasa. It ain't that unique if you're given the ability to two different, you know, Kubrows and naming them two different things. It ain't that unique. So clearly, it's not as identity defining to those pets. So let's give them something new. Let's give them something different, and let's just make those finisher mods. Just make them universal, right? Let all of the Kubrows have the ability to finish an enemy if they want to. Moving on, we also have the two dash mods on the Hearse and the Hellmouth Charger. Again, it's not unique, it's not defining for those Kubrows because of the fact that you literally gave it to another Kubrow, so I mean, it's clearly not that special. It's like, so a part of me is like, let's just make these dashes a universal mod, right? Just combine them, make them a universal mod, and give those Kubrows a different ability to really kind of make them unique and different. The next one, okay, this one is very specific and it is defining, but it's defining in a bad way. The Sunika's Unleashed chases down and tackles capture targets. you made the Sunika, like, just applicable in one mission type. You gave the Sunika Unleashed and the Finisher. So Unleashed is, like, not that great. Literally, it just runs off at super speed, chases down a capture target, done. So it's only really worthwhile on, like, the planes when you don't know what the bounty is going to be and it might switch up, or capture missions. So part of me is like, that's very specific. Let's just go ahead and turn that into a universal mod. So if someone really wants that, they can use it, but it's not super highly desirable. So do that, give the Sunika a new ability. Now, another one that I thought was a great universal ability, and some people may disagree, is Dig. I think that all doggies should be able to dig, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of dogs out there just dig. So this is from the Sahasa, and it digs up mods, health, and energy orbs, life support, and ammo. So I do want to point out here that it doesn't happen, that it happens frequently enough for you to be like, cool, but it doesn't happen to the point where you're like, oh my god, that's like OP abundance kind of thing. So I feel like it's kind of fine to go ahead and put on a universal thing, and it'll kind of be able to cater to, you know, whatever playstyle you want. If you really want energy orbs and health orbs, boom, you're done. You can have that in between rounds of defense. And for those of you guys who are unaware, your Kubrow will actually tailor your drops to what's happening. So if you're missing health, you'll get health orbs. If you're missing energy, you'll get energy orbs. If you're missing ammo, you'll get ammo orbs. Ammo orbs? Ammo drops. Ooh, I gotta be careful with those laughs. I'm scared that the hiccups are coming back. So that's definitely kind of like one of the big things. I feel like that's a great utility for them to have, and would kind of fall into the whole we generate drops kind of thing, right? Instead of we get your drops, we generate your drops. Now the next one, and I don't know how I feel about making this a universal mod. I don't know if it'll be just like a cop-out, but I could see it being a universal mod. And that is the Chessa's Retrieve. Now, I know what you guys are saying. Rob, you've been anti-universal vac this whole time. How are you going to say Retrieve should be universal for Kubrows? Number one of the big reasons why I feel like Retrieve is okay. In my brain, I'm still going back and forth on it, to be completely honest with you. I feel like it's a good, what's the word I want to say? Like barter. It's a good compromise. We all know that Retrieve is not as good as Universal Vac. So for those of you guys who don't know what Retrieve does, number one, pets, whenever they run over any resources or whatnot, they'll actually run around as long as you're not engaged in combat, grab stuff. If it's a resource, it'll automatically go to you. If it's a mod or I think something else, it's a mod or an orb, I think, he'll actually bring it physically back to you. Now the reason why I'm kind of okay with this is mainly because of the fact that it doesn't draw as much want as Universal Vac. As you guys know, I like to keep Sentinels and Companions separate. So one of the big draws of the Sentinels is they have vacuum on them. So I'm like, good, let the Sentinels keep vacuum. They can stay in their lane. And then for those of us who want a little bit of higher tier play, we can sacrifice that vacuum to get better benefits on our pets, right? So this, I feel like since Retrieve isn't as good, like it's not as much of a drive to pick it up. But for some people, it might be like, oh, the Kubrows or the Kubrows specifically, and that's the other thing. It's a Kubrow only ability. The Kubrows only, you know, the Kubrows don't grab every single thing, but they still have all of these other intensely cool abilities that will get in there. And before you say anything, hear me out, because some of this shit that I've come up with goes hand in hand with all that. So listen, I'm just thinking it's a decent halfway mark. It's not going to draw as much, but for some people it might be a decent enough compromise for them to pick up something kind of crazy. So let's should I start with the crazy? No, we're going to start from least crazy into the more crazies. So that's it for Universal Mods. I think that's a thing. And you know what? You can disagree or agree with me on Retrieve. Maybe Retrieve shouldn't be a thing. Maybe Retrieve should be a thing universally. But the thing is, it's great for the dogs. And it keeps it away from the Kavats, because the Kavats have some very, very powerful things. And I mean, let's be real. If we had a Kavat with double loot boost and vacuum on top of that, that would be a little well, that would be extremely OP when it came to like the loot game in Warframe. So that's a big fucking no. But you know, for pets, for Kubrows, it might be a little bit different. So moving on to the Roxa. The Roxa, like I had told you earlier, I wanted to make their Protect universal. So for those of you guys who didn't know what Protect did, it would restore your Warframe's shields. Now, instead, I replaced that with an ability called Indomitable. So this one actually decreases incoming damage by 80% to both the owner and the Kubrow. And that's kind of, it's got a little synergy with the second ability. But number one, Roxa is all about protection. It's all about being tanky. So why not really push that tankiness to another level and allow even more fragile Warframes to take a couple hits because of the fact that they're paired with this Kubrow. There are certain Warframes out there that really don't have very much survivability whatsoever. So to be able to like look at a Kubrow and say, that has the potential to reduce the damage I take by 80% and I keep dying, like that's going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, we're going to pair that up with the second ability. Now, this ability used to be called Howl, and it would fear and slow enemies. However, I've changed that a little bit to Fearsome Howl, because we're gonna have a lot of howls in the Kubrow world. So this one still fears and slows enemies. However, this time, affected enemies have an increased chance to drop health orbs. Now, the reason I wanted to pair these two together is, number one, you're taking reduced damage, but you're able to pick up health orbs every now and then, so you can keep yourself healthy. And this is really the dog to kind of like protect areas, but also protect you at the same time. And it synergizes with health conversion. So now there are more Warframes that when paired with this dog could potentially use health conversion, right? Because that's not a thing that works for every single Warframe. I would say that maybe the only two that can really, truly, optimally, effectively use health conversion would be someone like Necros, of course, and then maybe Oberon with his ultimate, right? Those are the only two that can kind of do that on a regular basis. So now you have a Kubrow that could allow your whatever build you're playing around with to use health conversion. So there you go. That's definitely one of the things that I was keeping in mind. So done with the Roxa, let's go ahead and move to the Hearse. Now the Hearse is the stealth dog, for those of you guys who are unaware. This has an ability very, very similar to the Shade's Ghost, which is called Stalk, but it's better. So if you guys have never used Stalk before, or the Hearse Kubrow before, Stalk basically operates like Ghost. Whenever you get near enemies, you and your Kubrow will just disappear. So I wanted to go ahead and pair that with something that felt very stealthish, with Piercing Howl. Stuns surrounding enemies and opens them up to melee finishers, alright? Affected enemies have an increased chance to drop energy orbs. Now, here is the synergy that happens here. So, Piercing Howl, absolutely fantastic, and the fact that it can open enemies up to melee finishers, it gives more allies the ability to, or it gives more, not allies, well, it could use your allies too because it's the enemies that are being affected, but it gives more Warframes the ability to use things like Exodium Might. For those of you guys who don't know what I think it's Exodium Might. Oh my god, I'm gonna feel stupid. But it's the one that upon finisher gives you a chance to activate lifelink on your weapon, or life leech, life strike on your weapon. So you'll be able to like take health from enemies with that. So that's a great way to be able to have a synergy with that arcane. Now speaking of arcanes, this also synergizes with arcane trickery. So now you have a dog that puts you into stealth, and you can maintain longer periods of stealth by using arcane trickery because the dog will howl, right? Now, in addition to that, I'm not even done with all the crazy synergies that I've been thinking up. One of the things that all Shade and Hearse users know is while you can't attack enemies while you're invisible, well, you can attack them, but it breaks your invis, you can cast Warframe abilities while you're invisible, thus the increased chance to drop energy orbs. So now, you can be invisible, you can cast Warframe abilities, and you can be fueled to have more use of those Warframe abilities with the stealth. So that gives you a very different kind of gameplay, and it's very specific and very niche-y to this pet, which I love because that's what these pets need. They need some synergy. Moving on to the Chessa. So let's pretend that they made Retrieve universal and that they didn't, that it's gone. It's gone from the Chessa. However, you know, we could get rid of the other ability that I've added in. So Chessa now, instead of Neutralize, has Neutralizing Howl. Let's be real. Neutralize as a single target disarm, it's not that great. Like, the single target disarm is not all that great. So I went ahead and changed this to an area of effect ability. And I also added in marked enemies grant bonus affinity. So this, friends and family, is the Kubrow that you would want to use to level up weapons, right? So now these enemies are disarmed, they're running at you, you can use your melee attacks, you can use your guns, whatever it is, or you could use your Warframe abilities, whatever you want, and you'll be able to get more affinity off of this. Now, of course, DE is going to have to do some balancing as to how often they'll be able to use this skill. I'm just kind of putting that out there. This is, of course, up to balance. But this is your affinity Kubrow. So now for anybody who wants to level up weapons, anybody who wants to level up their Warframes faster, anybody who wants to do focus farming. So think about it that way. That's absolutely perfect for that. In addition, I went ahead and, okay, so let's pretend Retrieve is there. Then it's a great way to level up Warframes, level up weapons, and it's kind of like I like to almost position this as the starter Kubrow that gets you started on your way to the rest of the other Kubrows. Because if Retrieve's there, then boom, you have somebody that's transitioning from like the Sentinel world into the higher tiers of the pet world, right? However, let's say Retrieve is now universal. I decided to give the Chessa the ability Reprieve. And this is the first of these abilities that I wanted to kind of introduce. It's a buff that lasts on you and your Kubrow if you want it to, but it clears status effects, gains status immunity, and increases evasion, kind of like Titania's Razor Wing, where, like your evasion goes up a bunch. But it does it per kill for a limited time. So the buff goes on, and you have to activate it by killing an enemy. So this way, even though, yes, it clears status effects and gives all of that stuff, it's really, really powerful ability, but there is a caveat, and the caveat is you have to kill enemies. So that kind of keeps and maintains the buff as it's going. That's the first one. You'll see another one that's a little bit insane right now. So Chessa, great for kind of leveling things up and focus farming. The next one is the Pula Sunika. Now, the thing about the Sunika is, yes, the Sunika did not get much love. So I wanted to give the Sunika a lot of love. For those of you guys who don't know what the Sunika is, it's the one that chased down enemies and was supposed to be the aggressive Kubrow. The Sunika, now, has Savage Howl. It increases the melee attack speed, reload speed, and fire rate for all allies within range. Don't call me! So basically what this is whenever it howls, all allies in range get bonus melee attack speed, reload speed, fire rate, and you could just go to town. Like, I kind of drew from the whole Kavats buffing your team thing, and I think that this is a real great way of doing it, but for the Kubrow. This is the aggressive Kubrow, so we gotta give them some aggression, right? Moving along from that, we also have their next ability, which is Feast. So very, very similarly to the Chessa's Reprieve that I was telling you guys about, this one grants bonuses per kill, right? And the bonus per kill would be health and energy regeneration. Now, I'm kind of hesitant on the term regeneration. It could just be like a flat amount of health and energy that are restored to you per kill. And the thing is, that would be a great bonus if, let's say, you're running a highly offensive frame that doesn't have as much survivability. You could just go to town and murder, and each of the kills will restore a little bit of your energy and restore a little bit of your health and keep you going. So that's kind of the way that I like to look at the Sunika, as like this bloodthirsty, like berserked out beast that wants to come in for the kill and helps you come in for the kill as well. Now, moving along, we have Sahasa. Now, this was Diggy Kubrow, our little Diggy Kubrow. And again, like I was saying, I really kind of want Dig to be a universal mod for Kubrows. So we gotta give them something. We gotta give the Sahasa something to make up for that, right? And what I wanted to do was give them Signaling Howl. It creates weak spots on surrounding enemies. Marked enemies drop extra loot. Because we know how popular loot, the loot meta is, right? We've seen it. We've seen Necroses running around, Hydras running around. The big reason for Vacuum being a thing is because everybody wants all the loot, right? So we're not, taking away the Sahasa's ability to generate things. We're going to improve it to give them an increased chance to drop loot when you mark these targets. So now these targets are easier to kill, and at the same time, you can get loot for killing them. The last bit for the Sahasa is another ability because we got rid of their finisher attacks, and we give them Rampage instead. Rampage seems a little crazy, so I don't know. But Rampage grants infinite ammo and bonus melee range per kill for a limited time. So think of it very similarly to the dual Toxicist. When you fire off the dual Toxicist and you get a headshot, you're just infinite ammo. Like, you're just... You're not having to reload, you don't have to do anything crazy like that. So literally, you can go in, massacre enemies, and at the same time, if you want to do melee, you get bonus melee range per kill. So basically what ends up running around is, you could do your Ataraxes or do whatever it is that you want with your polearms and have increased range on that as well. Now, the reason that I wanted to introduce Rampage with infinite ammo is to kind of counteract the whole ammo case from Carrier. So instead of, mutating the ammo that you pick up, this is kind of like generating ammo, because that's the kind of differentiation that I want to make between pets and Sentinels. Sentinels can pick up all the crap that you want to pick up, but Kubrows and Kavats should be able to generate things for you. So now you're generating ammo with the Sahasa, so now you're not burning through as many ammo stores, and in addition to that, you'll have an increased chance to drop loot. So there's a little bit of a bonus there for you. Now, let's move on to the last one, which is the Hellmouth Charger. I got a little wackadoo on this one, so I don't know how you guys feel about this, but the Hellmouth Charger's first ability is Proboscis. I'm going to be honest with you, this is kind of iconic, so part of me is like, don't take Proboscis away, don't do it. But I kind of feel like Proboscis is a bit underpowered. So I was thinking of either the Proboscis hitting multiple enemies at once, so being able to fire off like 3 Proboscises and drag a couple enemies in, that would be fantastic. And then, if they don't want to do multiples, I was also thinking that they could potentially rip the armor off of a grappled enemy. So if they keep it single target, the Proboscis goes out, grabs that enemy, and shreds their armor. So either multiple grabs or just like a single grab. Now the last one is going to be a little bit tricky. It's a little bit different, and it utilizes some of the effects that we currently have on the Kavats and Kubrows, mainly the link system. So you know how you can link certain things and they'll boost up your Kavat or Kubrows abilities. So this one is going to be, I wanted to call it like Spore Link, potentially, and basically it greatly increases the Hellmouth's damage resistance whilst taunting surrounding enemies, right? But it takes the primary element on your melee weapon and increases a spore cloud, and emits a spore cloud that has a 100% chance to proc the status every second. This would last for maybe like 6 to 8 seconds, maybe even longer, I don't know. But that's kind of like the way that I want to do it, and I think that it works really, really well in synergy with Proboscis, right? So it drags an enemy in, and then it would have the ability to create a spore cloud. So I think that that's definitely a little bit different. It's unique, but genuinely I think it's something that will make the Hellmouth Charger desirable because you can customize it. You could put on, let's say, electricity or fire to do CC, right? If you're fighting the Corpus, you could do gas on that baby. and all of a sudden he's dragging enemies in, and then all of a sudden this cloud of just toxin damage just kind of comes through. In addition to that, you also have things like corrosive, so that you could drag them into a cloud of corrosion or a cloud of radiation. So now it's kind of like creating all of these different ways for this Hellmouth Charger to be able to do their abilities. I know we kind of lost the whole charging part of the Hellmouth Charger though. It's base. Anyway, so that about does it for kind of like my propositions, I guess you would say, for what I think would be cool for pets in, you know, the world of Warframe. I really kind of took some time to think about it. Let me know what you guys think about some of these changes. I want to know if you guys have any cool ideas or abilities, maybe swap up a couple things, or maybe name a couple mods that should be universalized for Kubrows, not vacuum. If I see that anywhere down in the comment section, you might get regulated on. So don't be smart, don't be sassy, be respectful if you're going to talk about anything like that. But beyond that about does it for me for now. I'm so happy I don't have the hiccups now. But yeah, so as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch yo body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.